Matthew's message via Suzy Ward for June 1 to June 16, 2026. With loving greetings from all souls at this station. This is Matthew. During this final stage of the battle on Earth between the light forces and the dark, growing backlash about inflation, scarcity of essential items, and the Middle East conflict is public knowledge. But the most significant action is not. Along with white hats' victories, countries and influential international factions are aligning against the deep state, particularly in the United States and Israel, where political and economic control still must be uprooted. After the peak of chaos is reached, it will be downhill all the way for the dark ones. During their zigzag descent, incrementally truths will come to light. Grassroots movements will gain strength and influence. Clones and doubles will be exposed and removed. Warring will cease. Many more evildoers will be arrested. Persons wrongfully imprisoned will be released. Global alliances for humanitarian projects will be established. Illuminati's fortunes will be retrieved. Countries will regain their natural resources that were taken over by multinational corporations that fund the World Economic Forum. The tenacious puppets of darkness will not let those developments happen without resistance. But their efforts will be futile. Those long-needed changes are vibrationally unstoppable. Nevertheless, the process of eradicating every iota of darkness is energetically tumultuous. And many people are grappling with health, financial, relationship, employment and other challenges. The high frequencies that are undergirding all light-based action also are prompting souls to see situations they need to change, albeit without the awareness that the changes will offer experiences they chose in pre-birth contracts. Now, dear ones, we shall address your questions and comments. You already may know what we do about David Wilcock. He was distraught about personal circumstances and the recent death or disappearance of numerous scientists whose knowledge and pursuits were similar to his. But there is no clarity in any dimension we know of about his last minutes on Earth. It would seem that David's thoughts then were not clear enough to register in etheric form. But we can tell you he is a highly evolved, widely respected and beloved soul and is being tenderly cared for as he recovers psychically and physically in nirvana. Next question. I was wondering if you could give us an update on Project Bluebeam in 2030. And if there will be a new world order. Will the new world order follow a diabolical path or a lighted path? Let us first say that depending on the topic, your fact-checker sites and Wikipedia are sources of both factual information and disinformation. Examples of the latter are the claims that when suppressed truths come to light, they are conspiracy theories and the individuals who expose them are conspiracy theorists. Those labels were devised by the CIA years ago to firmly quash an emerging truth and discredit the source. And the public was programmed to believe that anything termed conspiracy is rubbish from addled minds. That said, the Dark Ones applied those labels to Project Bluebeam and the man who wrote about their plan to form a totalitarian government by establishing a one-faith New Age religion and technologically produce the second coming of Christ. That New World Order would indeed be a diabolical path if it were to come to fruition. It will not. What is coming absolutely is a lighted path. A group of internationally respected persons with moral and spiritual integrity and many lifetimes of respected leadership will wisely and conscientiously serve all Earth's peoples. That is the foundation of governance in Earth's golden age. And in the continuum, the population in that age is joyful, healthy, productive, innovative and prospering. Next, could Matthew comment on the following? There is talk going around that there is to be an official government alien disclosure soon. Listening closer we hear that the dark hats are the ones behind the disclosure and their real goal is to get us to believe an actual alien invasion is coming. One faked by them. Why fake an invasion? So that we will panic and cry out for a one-world government to save the planet. That's what they've wanted from the beginning. While we cannot say with certainty that rather muddled forecast is Dark One's propaganda to create fear, it does indeed sound like it. In their arrogance and perceived superiority to the masses, They disclose, sometimes obviously like that announcement, sometimes obliquely in books, movies and TV films, how they will dupe the peoples, eliminate most of them and force the survivors into servitude. Always their goal has been world domination, and faking an alien invasion has long been a contingency plan. The original idea was to use the little grays, members of a young Zeta Reticuli civilization who came to Earth for intimate reasons and got trapped in the planet's density. The official abduction story is inaccurate and personal accounts are incomplete. So let us digress briefly to speak about what did take place. After a humanoid civilization's planet was almost destroyed by radioactivity thousands of years ago, some inhabitants went underground and lived in caverns. To adapt to that environment's constraints, they concentrated on developing mentally and suppressing feelings. The people who eventually resurfaced no longer were like their ancestral civilization. During the millennia they lived underground. Their body forms and features had changed dramatically and they had evolved consciously, but had no emotions. To fill that unnatural void, some made agreements with souls with whom they were bonded and who would incarnate on Earth. In accordance with the agreement, the Zeta Reticuli extracted eggs and tissue samples from those individuals. The ones who did not remember their role were traumatized, to implant in their people. The collective hope was that the hybrid children would have human emotions, and in 2 or 3 generations, everyone in their world would. However, the visitors had become energetically bound by Earth's density and could not leave. That was about 50 years ago. And since then they have been living in part of the deep state's vast system of secret tunnels, along with accusing aliens of committing atrocities. Dark Ones performed medical experiments on women they kidnapped and also mutilated animals to increase the public's fright of extraterrestrials at the very same time the idea that they even existed was officially ridiculed. No one seemed to notice that glaring contradiction. And later psychologists erased all ET involvement by stating that individual stories about abduction experiences likely arose from their fantasizing, nightmares, or hallucinations of science fiction nature. Now then, back to faking an alien invasion. When the Zeta Reticuli refused to participate in the malevolent hoax, deep staters switched to Plan B, a technological holographic representation. And they may do that. We do not think they still have the capability to pull it off. But they are desperate and may try. If so, Hayton's crews and members of extraterrestrial special forces on Earth will turn the invasion into spectacular entertainment. Next question. Especially in Europe, many of our governments lean to the left, and very little is being done to address violent Muslims or the calls for a caliphate. Instead, any resistance to this is dismissed as Islamophobia. Could Matthew possibly comment on this? Is there a danger to us that these movements will grow stronger? Or is this just another case of much ado about nothing? Most Muslims are peaceful souls who do not impose their faith upon others. Deep State hired zealous mercenaries to join with religious fanatics in causing havoc and violence. And reports about those happenings along with vicious propaganda have been widely spread to create Islamophobia. The intention is to evoke so much fear, hatred and discrimination within the non-Muslim population that the tenseness will erupt into religious warfare. Down through the ages all religions have been hijacked by puppets of the darkness. They expunged holy books of all references to one supreme being, interconnectedness of all souls, innate abilities, and the power of light. And they inserted concocted passages about infidels, killing unrighteous non-believers, a vengeful God, eternal damnation, male domination, and lies about Jesus' life and teachings. Those falsehoods produced emotions and divisiveness of such intensity that during the past 1,000 years, many millions died in wars to defend or extend their, or perhaps only their rulers', fervent religious beliefs. Awakened people are realizing that religions, for long ages in distorted forms, were designed to instill beliefs instead to serve adherents' spiritual needs. As the population advances consciously and spiritually, people will forego rituals and retain the spiritual aspects of their faiths. Next, Edward Snowden is warning against the adoption of national digital ID systems, which would enable government monitoring of our movements and financial transactions. Does Matthew see this as a real possibility in our future? No. It is another plan of the dark ones that never will come to pass. Backing up a bit, we shall explain why previously we stated their fortunes can be retrieved. It is because they were amassed illegally and immorally, including the control of the Western medical establishment and all stock markets, the legal drug industry, sex trafficking, bioweaponry, adrenochrome sales, production of weaponry for wars they instigate, taxation, and interest on mortgages, loans and credit cards. When they are separated from their untold wealth along with their control of the global economy, many millions of computer transactions with no foundation, purchasing and selling will be straightforward private transactions. We are not financial counselors, but we do recommend spending your cryptocurrency. Today's forms, designed and controlled by the Rockefeller faction, are not part of the new economic system wherein all national currencies are based on precious metals. This system will be implemented when all darkness has been vanquished. Next, surely members of the USA government know a fake Trump is running that country. I can't understand why they are letting this duplicity continue or why the real president doesn't stop it. Many within the administration are deep staters themselves. Others are silenced by blackmail, bribes or threats. And all of them are ignoring the courageous few who are denouncing the president. We have been told that President Donald Trump favors letting the imposter, actually, a series of imposters, and colluding members of the administration hang themselves while he in white hats in the military are draining the swamp in other areas. Finally, I know Matthew has spoken to this in the past at various points and always assured everyone not to worry. Can he speak about all the information sources that are suddenly talking about an extinction event or extinction level event that is circulating and, of course, likely making a lot of people nervous? According to one source, there will be massive tidal waves, inundating all coastal regions, changing the geography of the planet. And this is supposed to occur in 4 to 5 years. So he's urging everyone in those regions to relocate inland. And people are doing it. Let us assure you, that is not in Earth's future. What the sources describe sounds like a global extension of the I Am America map, which almost half a century ago showed what seemed to be in store for the United States, where darkness was firmly entrenched. At that time comparatively few of Earth's peoples had embraced the light beamed from afar and generated by volunteers on the planet. And light within a population is essential for them and their world to ascend out of third density. The Galactic Council that works most closely with Earth knew that if this ascension opportunity were missed, remaining mired in deep third density could be calamitous. And the mapmaker was given details about probable effects. We can only assume that maps of the rest of that continent and others also would have been prepared had it been necessary. Out of love for Gaia and her resident souls, civilizations send even more intense light. Other powerful civilizations join them, and increasing numbers of volunteers incarnated. The new abundance of energy enabled Earth to embark upon an ascension pathway, and the I Am America map was rendered obsolete. We cannot discount the possibility that its depiction of catastrophic changes in land and sea masses, which would apply worldwide, was circulated by someone who felt a responsibility to send out the alert. Nevertheless, this has all the earmarks of the deep state's desperate need to create fear energy on a global scale. They need that energy's low vibrations for their very survival. In lieu of discounting other grave predictions, let us just urge you to please give no thought whatsoever to any fear-filled information. Feel confident and optimistic. Love yourselves. Breathe rhythmically and shout, "We've got this." Beloved sisters and brothers, light beings throughout this universe honor you for steadfastness in your mission and, with unconditional love, support you. Love and peace. Suzanne Ward. June 16, 2026.